This week on the podcast, it's part 3 of my trip report where I'm leaving Walt Disney World to sail with Virgin Voyages. That's right, this cruise was not very Disney, and I'm sharing all the details this week on the podcast. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Pixie Dust Fan Podcast. Hi, I'm Francine.
And I'm Carrie.
We're two best friends who can't stop talking, usually about Disney stuff.
Sometimes we have fascinating guests, and sometimes it's just us. But it's always positive and fun.
We're happy to have you join our chat. Thanks for listening, and let's get started. Hi, friend.
Hi, pal. We got it right this time.
Yeah, last week you were giving me grief about calling you pal.
You just threw me off. And now we're back, and we're back to.
Because Carrie, I try to shake things up sometimes, but like there's only so much shaking you can do.
We're not
with,
really good at that,
like,
shaking things
hello,
up.
hi, hey pal.
What's shaking?
Yeah, you know what I'd love? I'd love for somebody to write us and just say, like, what would you think would be a fun way to start the podcast? Here's Carrie. Like, what do we do? I don't know.
I think we should stop worrying about it and just let it be what it is.
Let it be, let it be.
Yes, and you just came back from the Love Boat. Let's talk about that.
You don't know how many people were messaging me going, I can't, like Disney followers who were messaging me going, I can't wait to hear what you think about this, because people are thinking about doing this cruise and want to know opinions. So yeah, we figured why not have a whole episode where I'm sharing my thoughts on Virgin Voyages.
Right.
Yeah.
You were on this. What was she called? The
Scarlet Lady.
The Scarlet Lady. And this is a cruise line that is for adults only.
Richard Branson created, and it's adults only, not a kid in sight.
They have really good advertisements.
It was you and I that was in Walt Disney World, weren't we? And you and I, we were watching TV one night and the ad came on and it was all the kids crying because their parents left them to go on vacation. It was like the most brilliant ad ever.
It's a good one.
It's a very good one. So, yeah, so I finally decided, well, now's the time to try it.
Now, was the Scarlet Lady in comparison to a Disney ship? Her size, was it? It's not a mega ship.
It's not a mega ship. It's not a mega ship. It's more like a Magic Wonder ship.
So she's not even as big as the Dream. She's probably a little bit.
I don't think she's as big as the Dream. You should have told me you were going to ask me these questions. I would have prepared. No, I don't think she's quite as big as the Dream. But yeah, it's a completely different ship, Carrie. Like I can't even. So before we even get started, I got to tell you about my car ride though.
Oh, okay.
To get to the Scarlet Lady. But before we do that, I know that there are people that listen with their children. I'm going to be describing an adults only cruise.
Cover their ears.
I will do it in the most Disney-fied manner I can. But there are some things that yeah. That that's the disclaimer. It's an adults only cruise. It's not a Disney cruise. And yeah, we'll try to keep it as generic and Disney friendly as possible. Fair?
Nice. Yes.
So yeah, this sailing was out of Miami.
Right.
So first things first, I had to get from Walt Disney World to Miami. I rented a car from Alamo. I first looked at flying from Orlando to Miami because it was going to be like $150. But then when I added on like the time to get to the airport from the hotel, then like checking the transfers, the blah, 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 it was going to be like 4 hours anyway. So I was like, forget it. I may as well rent a car. So I rented a car for the day.
The person who gets lost at Saratoga Springs is going to rent a car and drive all by herself to Miami.
4 hours to Miami. So I clearly did. So I thought I was being smart. So I rented from Alamo, the car care center on Walt Disney World property. Fun. Like they pick you up. Like they have a shuttle or whatever to pick you up. So I had them pick me up and take me. Easy peasy. No problem. No problemo. I get there. I had paid in advance. Like I requested a GPS unit. Right? Because, let's be smart about this. And she tells me the car that I've got doesn't have a GPS unit in it. But they're going to give me the little doohickey that you stick to the visor or whatever. So, that's just like a little tiny one. Mm-hmm. So even with my glasses on. Anyway, so I figure, okay, I gotta make it do it with the voice so that it talks too. So that I'm not just relying on looking at it. I don't think I've ever driven a Toyota in my life. So I have no idea where any of the buttons are, what any of it does, but whatever. How hard can it be? It's a highway. It's 4 hours. I can do it. Thank goodness I left early. That's all I can say. I got up early in the morning, get on the road, and I was on the road probably 25 minutes when the GPS died. Like, as in, stop working. So thankfully I figured out that if I plugged my phone into the car, that I could cast my phone onto the screen in the car, so I could use my own data from my iPhone with my Google app to do the rest. But yeah, so much for renting the GPS. Although they were really good. When I brought the car to Miami Airport and the guy said, how was everything? I go, well, your GPS died 20 minutes into my ride. And like, I kind of needed it. And he immediately took the price. Like he refunded me the GPS. So that was good. But yeah, it was a long drive, Carrie. It was like 4 hours in traffic. Mm-hmm. And I had to pull over at one point into a like rest thingy or whatever. A, because I've been drinking so much water, and B, I needed some sugar. Dunkin' Donuts, not my fave.
I know.
Really not my fave. Like, their tea was meh. But I got a donut because I thought you really need some sugar to stay awake. And wasn't very good.
Because we got Tim Hortons donuts.
Well, according to one of the men that I met on the Virgin Voyage ship, it's Tom Hortons. That we have. But anyway.
But you made it.
I made it to Miami. Yay. Returned the car. And then another thing, Uber Lyft from Miami Airport. They told me to go to the 4th floor, parking, blah, blah. That's where the taxis are. Mm-hmm. Uber and Lyft have no concept of where you are on what floor. So the Lyft guy kept thinking I was on the 1st floor.
Well, wouldn't they know that they're supposed to pick you up on a certain floor?
I don't know. I can't even tell you how long it took for my Lyft driver to finally find me. I thought I was going to miss my cruise. So another plus for why you leave lots of time. Anyway, when he finally showed up, he was very nice. He was an older gentleman from Havana, Cuba. And he was lovely. Told me all about his daughter, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, got me to the cruise port. Happy. Check in. The line was pretty good. Like, it moved very quickly to get in and get on board the ship. And you got like a little bracelet. So
they give you like a magic band.
It's like a magic band. It's just string, really. And like this little doohickey thing.
Like a stone on it or something.
It's like a stone. Yeah. And that's like your room key. You charge things with it, like everything. You need nothing else but that bracelet.
Good idea.
Yeah, so when you get on board, your room is ready. Like, it's ready when you get on board. Because they start boarding later. So my boarding time was 2:15, I think. So when I got on board, my room was ready. Fabulous.
Well, and the thing is, they don't have a buffet, right? So
no.
If there's no buffet, then you can't, like, what do you do when you let on
they have
people early?
Well, they have a place to eat that is not a buffet, but would sort of operate, I guess, like a buffet. It's like a made-to-order buffet, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. It's like, so quick they call service. It's like quick service. It's called the galley, and you go in and you sit down at a table and you scan the QR code and you can read the menu. And then when you're ready to order, there's a little flag on top of that little placard. and you raise the flag, and then a server will come and take your order. And, you know, but they only have certain things. They have an all-day breakfast, though, Carrie, that was so good. And let me tell you, I made up for my no cupcakes. They had a s'mores dessert that I am going to figure out how to make. It came in little mason jars, and it was like the best thing I have ever eaten. So I ate it every day, sometimes twice.
Okay, back to the chicken. You checked in, the room was ready.
The room was ready. So the room was pretty cool. I didn't pay for the upgrade, like to get centership or blah, blah, blah. I just paid for a balcony. And, so my view wasn't that great because right under I was at the back of the ship, but right under my balcony was the rescue boats or whatever. So it kind of blocked a little bit, but not
the
not
tender
a ton,
boats. I don't think
the
we're
tender
supposed
boats.
to call them life jackets, life boats, or save the boats. They're tender boats that bring us to our excursions.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure, that's it. So I was at the back of the ship, and funny, he did, like, on the ships, they don't do port and starboard and blah, blah, blah. He has, on one side is A, and the other side is Z. Like, they don't do that. So when you get in the rooms are pretty cool. The rooms are pretty cool. Bathroom is a bit tiny. I didn't pay for the bigger bathroom. I just paid for, like, the standard balcony room. So the shower was a good size, and it had like a rainfall shower, but it was like good pressure for a ship. Yeah. Inside, little closet with just like a curtain to close it. So it felt a little bigger, I think, because you could leave that curtain open if you wanted. A safe, little desk, a fridge, and so he's very big on the environment, Richard Branson. So everything is like environmentally friendly. There's no plastic. Like, it's not like you can't get one use plastic cups or whatever. Everything's glass, which seems kind of like counterintuitive on a ship, right? But in your room every day, you have like a couple glasses and then a big carafe of water that they refill. So, that's cool. Yeah, so they ended up, because of all the water I was drinking, they gave me 2 carafes that I could fit in my fridge. But the fridges were good. Like, they were good quality. But what you get is, you get like a little iPad, Carrie. So you get a little tablet, and it controls your room.
That's fun.
Yeah, so you turn on your TV with the tablet. You decide what entertainment you're going to watch with your tablet. Then you have all of the controls for your room. So your lights are on the tablet. You can change the temperature in it. They have different settings, like predisposed settings for you. So there's like the hangover setting. So when you turn that on, like the lights kind of go dim and they're like a very muted color and contrast. They have a let's be not Disney setting. That's very
setting?
Like a spicy setting, like one of those. They have like a daylight setting, like that kind of stuff. So they had like 4 or 5 pre-programmed settings. They also had, like, you could open the curtains. So you push this button and the curtains just opened, which I gotta tell you, in the morning was fantastic. Like, you're lying in bed and you just touch that button on your tablet and all of the curtains open and daylight comes in. Like, it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. And the way that he has the room set, it preserves the energy in the room. So if you're out of the room, I think the drapes just close after a certain amount of time to keep the sunlight out. Because my drapes were always closed, even if they hadn't been in my room to clean it. And yeah, so like there were lots of things to preserve energy. On the back of the door, there you could hit the light to say, like, don't disturb, or I need service. And then on like the tablet, you could just say, like, I need more water, I need towels, I need whatever. And you just hit the button and it would show up. Which was so cool. And they also have an app for your phone. So you can order your room service on your phone. You can, like, and they had things like you could order gummy bears. So each room service was $7. Like each time it was $7 for room service, but everything was included. So if you wanted gummy bears, if you wanted a cheeseburger, like whatever.
Gummy bears and a cheeseburger.
You could get both. You could get all. Yeah, which was kind of good. I only ordered room service once. I ordered tea in the morning. I ordered a couple cups of tea to show up, which was kind of nice.
That's cool.
Yeah. I did enjoy like the way they have the TV is like front and center right in front of the bed. So yeah, I did. You know me, I love that, right? Watching TV in bed.
Yeah,
when I'm on vacation.
After that old Key West place you were staying at with their crazy TV.
With their
you
crazy
moved
little
into
TV.
Proper room.
I did, but he didn't have like proper channels. I keep saying he, like it's Richard Branson personally, but they didn't have like proper. They had weird like movies and sitcom, but not like a real robust selection. Like one night I think I watched Legally Blonde, and the other night I watched like it was stuff that I don't know, but whatever. It was fine. I was quite happy.
They have probably like you're not tuned into maybe regular TV, maybe just
And you could access like BBC and stuff like that. So obviously the British stuff, but no Coronation
And what about your
Street.
balcony?
Oh my gosh, Carrie. So they had 2 like steel chairs and a table, but they were still comfy, even though they were like they looked rigid. But it was like the slant of the back on them was pretty cool. But the best part, like the creme de la creme, the piece de la resistance, was the hammock on my balcony. Every balcony.
So you got in the hammock.
Oh my gosh. Every balcony on the ship has a hammock. And so the first day I got in there, I kind of just leaned on it because I was so nervous I was going to get stuck in it.
But that's what the tablet's for.
But I didn't get stuck, Carrie. I figured it out. And it was like the most glorious spot on the ship. I would go on this ship for a 7-day sailing just to sit in that hammock all day. My back cracked at one point in that hammock, a way that it's never cracked, and it felt so like it was just like everything just and to watch the water and it kind of rocks a little bit because you can kind of sit in it or you can extend it and then like lie in it. So we had friends on the ship, Marco and Michelle, and I said to Marco the one night, I'm like, have you tried the hammock? He's like, I pulled it all the way out so I could lie in it. He's like, oh my gosh, I feel like I need to buy one.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It was very cool. It was very cool. It was a great spot to sit in, and yeah, I made use of that a lot. Yeah.
What next? Food, entertainment.
So we could start with food. So the thing with Virgin is you have to book. They don't have set dining times. So you basically book reservations. But booking reservations are hard to do. So you kind of gotta book them in advance.
Would you book them in advance? Yeah.
Yeah, and we only booked a couple in advance because we didn't really know how it worked. Okay, who are we kidding? I booked nothing. Michelle booked everything and just included me on her reservations. Nice. So the only reason I got dining or got to any of the shows was thanks to Michelle. So the first night we ate at Test Kitchen, and it's basically a kitchen where they're testing different combinations of different food, which is a little bit out there. I don't know. It was weird, Carrie. It was very weird, but good, but weird. Like they had different things with, like they had an egg with like a runny yolk and caviar.
Weird.
Right? Weird. Like when we got to the main, I ordered the beef, but the beef came with chocolate.
Wow.
So there was like, it was like a molded branch looking thing. And they put the chocolate on top of my beef. And then they poured gravy on it to melt the chocolate into the beef. Like, It was weird.
What did Marco and Michelle think of it?
Of the food?
Yeah.
So, you know what?
Like in that situation, like it was just weird all around. Everybody?
It was just weird all around. Like we were all kind of like, huh? We all ate it though. Like we all tried it, and we tried everything with it. And like some of it was weird, and then but tasted good. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like it wasn't what I expected. The chocolate and the beef, I was a little, you know, I like chocolate, I like beef, but not together. Yeah. So but I mean, we were all stuffed at the end, so it must have been good because we all ate it. My other complaint, they didn't have Bud Light. So I like, you know, Corona's okay, but I can only drink like 1 or 2 Corona, and then it's like bleh. So my bar bill was very small.
Just had lots of tea, $7 tea deliveries.
I had lots of tea, water. I had a couple Malibu and orange juice, because you know, why not? When in Rome. So yeah, that was a fun one. We also did a Korean barbecue one night,
that would be good.
Where they fried it all right in front of you. Like they did it all, and they sat us with another couple. They were very lovely. And getting their perspective on the cruise was fun too. So they just said we're a bit more, I guess they described themselves as a little conservative. Mm-hmm. So they were enjoying the cruise, but it was their very first cruise. So they'd never cruised before. So this was their first cruise because they didn't bring their kids. So of course they looked for an adult only cruise. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So those are kind of the 2 big dining things. And then I ate in the galley a lot because it was just easy and I could go whenever I wanted and I didn't need a reservation. But we did miss some big dining things. They went to the Mexican restaurant one night. But yeah, like we did miss a few things because we hadn't booked dining reservations.
Right. So if you next time you'll have to just plan ahead and try to do some of the different things.
Yeah. So yeah, same with the shows. So you had to book the shows in advance.
One thing I was going to ask you about the food though, but the food is like there's no, like you said, it's all included. Like, so there is no top tier specialty dining at all.
Nope. There was one restaurant, I think, where they had like Wagyu beef or something on the menu, and you paid extra if you wanted a Wagyu version.
So if you wanted to have a higher, like a tomahawk steak or something like that.
Like whatever those high ends. Yeah. But it was all included.
That's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And all the drink, like aside from alcohol, you didn't have to worry about paying for pop or anything like that.
Nothing. And honestly, like the drinks, even the alcohol drinks, they were really reasonable. Like $7 for a beer, and tips are included. So
wow,
like it wouldn't even cost you $7 at home for a beer by the time you add on the tip, right?
Did the pool deck have ice cream? For ice cream,
they have ice cream.
These are the important questions I have about the dining. Do I have to pay more? Is there ice cream that I can? Is there soft serve ice cream or any type of ice cream?
There is ice cream, but you probably wouldn't eat there.
Why? Is it called dog lovers only? Is it called cats suck? Ice creams are for wussies. What's it? What?
Yeah, it's called little ones. Please close the little ones' ears or fast forward a little bit. Carrie, it's called Lick Me Till I Scream. Lick me till ice cream.
Ice cream. But so it's sort of like ice cream, but it's just not Mike Wazowski's eye. There's a play on words there.
It's yeah. The ice cream, you know me, lactose intolerant, so I didn't have any, but Marco and Michelle did, and they said it was good ice cream. Yeah. So it's not Disney, right? Like there were quite a few different things that were a little racier. lots of people told me that that this was like millennials and younger crowd or whatever, and the advertising kind of made you think it was.
Definitely, yeah.
Carrie, I saw everybody of every age on this cruise. And I love everyone. There was every color, every age, every gender, every orientation. And it was like the perfect metropolis where nobody cared how different everyone was. Like, I met an 88-year-old woman at the pool. Oh my God, but you won't believe what I did.
I have a feeling there's probably a lot of stories that won't get told about this cruise.
There's a lot of stories, but this was the day of Bimini. So they have their private beach or whatever. I got off, I went, I looked, I took pictures, but you know me and the beach, they don't get along. The pool was pretty crowded, so I was like, forget this. I went back to the ship and decided, hey, it's a good time to go in the pool on the ship because nobody's here. Well, got to make use of this bathing suit I bought. So I get in the pool. There's a few different couples or whatever. There's this lady. I know she's older. I'm chatting away to her and her husband. They're telling me the granddaughter works on the ship, blah, blah, blah. We have a lovely conversation. Anyway, then the sun comes out. We're both getting scorched. So we go back to our chairs, and our chairs happen to be next to each other. And her husband comes over and puts like a towel around her or whatever. And she says, he takes such good care of me. And I said, aw, he does. How long have you two been married?
Oh, no.
And she goes, this is my son. And I look at his face, Carrie, and I swear to God, the man looked about 35. And she goes, I'm 88. And I'm like, oh, my God.
My goodness.
I could have fallen off my chair. I was so mortified. And so then I start playing it off. I'm like, oh, you don't look it. Oh my, I'm like, but seriously, like how bad can it be? Like the woman's like 88, the man looks 30. I guess I just didn't really look at him while we were talking. I don't know. Anyway, man. He couldn't have been too offended because later, like an hour later after they left the pool, he brought the granddaughter back to meet me. So whatever. Anyway, that was embarrassing.
That's funny.
Carrie, there was everybody on this ship. Like, I can't even tell you. Like, there were people there that I really believe maybe in their day-to-day life don't get the opportunity to be who they are and were who they are on that ship.
That's cool.
Like, you could see them just enjoying
everybody having a good time.
Yeah, and nobody cared.
Not a care in the world. Yeah,
nobody cared. Yeah. So it was, but like there were some that were a little more overly affectionate in public than you would normally see. Apparently, I did hear that there was a part of the ship that was topless optional or top optional or whatever. I don't know. I didn't get to that part. I'm okay with it. There was the Scarlet Night, and apparently like they go on about this Scarlet Night and they don't really talk much about the details, but really it's just a big party. So everybody's supposed to wear red. Carrie, there were people in red ball gowns, 7-inch heels, men too. There, like, I saw some of the tallest men in my life. It was there. I had a red T-shirt. I had a red T-shirt, and basically it was a big party on the top deck, and it was off. Like, what did the kids say? Off the chain? Is that how they say it, or is it off the hook?
I don't know. I don't know anybody to ask. They say off the chain.
What's the hip sayings?
I don't know. We gotta Google it.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I think they get the point.
So
it was a party to party.
They played all kinds of different music too. So there was a lot of the music I only know from TikTok. Michelle knew more of them, but I didn't. I was like, oh, I recognize like that little snippet of the song from TikTok trends. They played old music, like from the 80s that we would know. Like I think at one point they were playing Supertramp. Like it was all over the place. It was all over the place. And it was crazy.
And everybody's just partying on the pool deck?
They were dancing like you wouldn't believe. And then they had like the dancers, the people from like that worked on the ship were up there dancing on top of the pool. And then they got in the pool and were like splashing everybody. And
oh my goodness.
It was insane. And Carrie, there was security everywhere. Like on that pool deck, when you looked around, you could spot a security guard any which way you looked. Which was kind of nice to see.
Just to make sure everything stays.
Because you think like people are drinking a lot and
throw somebody
whatever.
overboard.
Well, yeah, and there's opportunities. Lots of solo travelers like me that maybe in big groups of people.
Yeah. Keep an eye on everybody and.
Yeah. So that was pretty good. I mean, we stayed, we danced, we shook our booties until maybe 11. And then it was like, all right, well, I think this is enough for me. They did, you know what they did have was a pizza restaurant. Not a restaurant, like a fast food. So you could go in and order a pizza, like a single serve pizza, and they made it right there. So it was like custom made. So, but it only took like 5-10 minutes. So I think almost every night I went to the pizza place, took a pizza back to bed and watched a movie. So that's what we did that night. Yeah. Yeah.
So what about so they had shows
They had shows. So the first show we went to.
You see, did you have to book them, all of them, or just?
Yeah. Yeah. They did have standing like waiting lists. So if you weren't in the theater in time, then like 10 minutes before the show, then they gave your spot away to someone in line. So we went to the first one I think we went to was Around the World in 180 Days with a woman named Carlos. So it was Carlos in drag, and oh my gosh, Carlos was in drag, so he's not, so I don't think I don't know what pronouns I'm supposed to use for him. But he was hilarious. Like absolutely hysterical. But obviously not suitable for children. Some of the jokes were a little racy. But I didn't think it was as over the top as so many people had said. So lots of people had said, oh, some of the shows are like way out there, blah, blah, blah. Like for me, I was kind of like, it was funny. Maybe a couple of jokes were a little bit racy, but I didn't think it was that that crazy. It was funny. Like my stomach hurt. Then there was another one we went to where it was like an acrobat. You know, I get lost in some of the art stuff though, Carrie. So it was there was this story, I think, about two people who were in love and their friends or their gangs. I don't know. But anyway, it was an acrobat show, but there was like a whole artistic thing behind it.
It's like West Side Story acrobats.
Maybe. But let me tell you, that one wasn't so the theater and stuff all like they can change it. They can change the setup of the theater. But I didn't enjoy that one as much. It's kind of like, when you watch like America's Got Talent or something and they're doing very dangerous stunts and it's almost uncomfortable to watch because you're so worried something's going to happen to them. These are strangers, but I'm worried they're going to break a leg. That's how this felt. Like these people were doing like crazy acrobats and I didn't want them to fall. So part of that, so it was amazing and yet anxiety inducing at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Wow.
But there was a whole artistic story behind it, but I didn't get it. And then the other one we watched was very similar. It was a whole story about how you don't know the people next to you as you go about your day. So they talked about like work, like they didn't call them unmagical jobs, but like jobs, working in an office, blah, blah, blah. The only reason I know that's the premise of the story is because I read it on the app before we went to the show. Otherwise, it was a very artistic, sing-along, blah, blah, blah. I would never have got the whole point. Like, it totally would have been over my head.
You got your pizza and went back to your room.
But their dancing was fun. But yeah, it was very much over my head. Like the host came down out of the ceiling with wings on, but I didn't quite understand how that fit in the story. Do you know what I mean?
Totally. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So when it's so artsy. Yeah. But it was entertaining. So yeah, but then you're right. I left and went and got pizza and went back to my bed.
Where's that pizzeria?
Exactly. So yeah, it was not a Disney cruise. Mm-hmm. Lots of pros, lots of cons, kind of fall somewhere in the middle. Would I do it again? Yes. But I would make sure that whoever I was cruising with, like Marco and Michelle had a great time. But I don't, like, it's not something I would take my sister on. Because I think it really is too, it's just on the pendulum of party, it's too party for her. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, would you see the value in it? Like, aside from it being a party, like the party vibe, like, would you see the value in it of, like, the shows are a little too artsy, the food's decent, the rooms are awesome, it's a great place to relax? Like, would you, like, you'd see the value in going and paying for that cruise?
Yeah.
To just kind of, because, like, I don't like, I would like to get away and, like, have a vacation where you can relax and kind of unwind, but I don't want to be on a beach at an all-inclusive. Right, but sometimes if you're on a cruise ship that's got lots to do, you really don't just chill out. Like, like finding an experience where you get to chill out, like that all-inclusive. But yeah, like on a cruise ship, there's always so much you want to do and see.
Yeah.
Like all the activities and all that stuff.
And they did. Like, they had lots of activities. They had a spa. You could go get a tattoo if you wanted. Like, they had tons of stuff going on if you wanted to do them. I think it's a good place to go and chill. Like, you could totally just go and chill. You didn't have to participate in any of the other stuff. You didn't have to go to Scarlet Night. You did, like, you could totally avoid some of that stuff if you just wanted to chill. There were quiet places on the ship you could find too. Like, you didn't have to be in your room to find a quiet place. The service was not as good as I had hoped. So I did find, like, finding a drink when we were in the pool, I had to walk to the other bar because there was no bar open near the pool at the time we were there. And then when I went to the other bar, because it was the only bar that was open on the deck, they only had one bartender and like 20 people to serve. So that kind of stuff, the service wasn't quite as good as you would normally expect on a cruise ship. Yeah. And that was my issue too when I got to Bimini, their beach at Bimini. When I got off that tram, so you have to take a tram for 10 minutes. It's a 10-minute ride from the boat to their beach club. And the tram does not leave until it's full. And when I mean full, I mean full. So I was squished in with some of their family, closer than planes. And we got to the beach club. And when I got out, by the time I got out, I was roasting. I was parched, whatever. There was a huge lineup to get a glass of water. And I thought, oh, no, I'm not going to last long here. So for me, that was, yeah. But the beach and the pool were beautiful. And lots of people were there and had a great time. And if that's your thing, it's totally worth it. For me, I enjoyed a quiet time on the ship while everybody was off it. So that kind of made sense for me. Getting off the ship was a problem. So I love the fact that they allow you to get off the ship later. So I could book a debarkation time up until, I think it was 11. I think the last one was 10:45 or something, or 11, to get off the ship. However, they kept telling us in the app, they kept sending reminders that 10 o'clock was the busy time. And of course, that was the time I had booked. Because my flight was until like 3:30 out of Miami, or out of Fort Lauderdale. Marco and Michelle got off the ship at like 8 o'clock in the morning and had no problem. I think, okay, I don't want to chance it. So I get in line at 9 o'clock. Carrie, that line was not moving. So apparently the terminal was full and they weren't letting anyone off our ship for at least half an hour. So in that half hour, of course, the lines were crazy. It took probably about 45 minutes. I didn't get into the terminal until about 9:45, and there were only 2 customs agents.
Wow.
So by the time I got outside, it was probably almost, I want to say 10:30 or 11. Like it took me almost 2 hours to get off the ship.
That's crazy.
7 ships in port. So...
Wow. Yeah.
What's it like trying to get an Uber in? There's no, the traffic was impossible. So I waited probably 40 minutes and my Uber there was nobody coming. Nobody was coming. And then I was talking to some guy that worked at Virgin who was outside giving people directions. And some other lady comes by. She's like, Miami Airport. I'm like, no, I'm going to Fort Lauderdale. She's like, hang on. She walks away, grabs some man who's on the phone, comes back. He holds up a sign that just says transfers and says, you want to go to Fort Lauderdale? I'm like, how much? He says, $25. So I'm like, so I turn to the Virgin guy. I'm like, would you trust him? He like, yeah, I'd get in it. I'm like, all right. So there were 2 other couples who were trying to get to Fort Lauderdale Airport too. So we all got in this Suburban
Nice.
together. And the driver, I'm like, I'm going to WestJet. Am I like the last stop? And he's like, I don't know. He just basically said, I don't speak English. So whatever. I was like, just get me near the airport. I'll run the last mile.
Curbside, pickup, whatever curb, it doesn't matter.
But it took us forever to get out of the port. Wow. But at least his car was already there instead of waiting for someone to come in. So, So big tip for Miami, like on those days, just get off the ship as quick as you can.
Yeah, and I guess like they must like, so they share, some of the cruise lines have their own terminal.
Some do. But I guess they shared it with somebody else. So, but yeah, like they're all, and there's basically one tunnel that comes in to Miami.
In and out of that area.
Yeah, and there was an accident in the morning, so then they shut down the tunnel, which means everybody has to come a different way. Like it was like a litany of errors. Yeah. So I made it, whatever. I made it home, got to the airport. They don't open ticket wickets until 3 hours before the flight. So I stood in line for 45 minutes before the window was even open. Met some nice Canadians in line. Yeah. Finally got home by like 8:30. And it was a long day, Carrie. Long day.
That is a long day.
Yeah. But that was sort of my experience with Virgin Voyages. Yeah. Yeah, I would do it. I would totally do it again, but it's definitely for a certain clientele. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely like gaining popularity, I think, and because you hear more people being interested or sailing there and trying it. So
yeah, and I did get off the ship in Key West, Carrie.
But you didn't go see Hemingway's cats. You just...
No. But you know, it's a big deal for me to get off the ship. So I got off in both ports. And in Key West, I walked down the dock. I went and shopped in all the little things. Aww. And then I walked. I probably walked about 10. No, I probably walked about 10 blocks and then came back. Oh my gosh. But it's funny because there was like this huge super yacht there. and I took a picture and sent it to my nephew, and because you don't watch Below Deck. Okay, so I'm totally addicted to this show called Below Deck Sailing Yacht. It's just trash. It's just trash TV, but whatever. I love it. All of the Below Deck franchise. But there's this one guy on the ship called Gary. And every girl that comes on the ship, that works on the ship, Gary's all over. He's just a player. So then I text the picture of the ship to my nephew and said, I wonder if it's Below Deck. And his response was, stay away from Gary if he's there. But it wasn't. I walked around and I saw the people on the ship, and it was just like some rich people.
Normal rich, right? Other rich people.
Other rich people. Other rich people.
If you're a Disney fan, then you should listen to Carrie and Fran. They laugh and chat and help you make a plan. If you're going to Walt Disney World or Disneyland, and you will become a Pixie Dust fan.
Did you have any key lime pie?
No. I don't like lime. Like, I like lime in my beer, but not...
When in Rome.
But not... the texture of the key lime pie looks... Bleh. It looks like almost like jello-y pudding. Isn't it? Like, what's the texture of a key lime pie?
Like any other type of pie, like chocolate pie or something like that?
Well,
I don't know. I've never made one.
no, but have you eaten one?
Like a coconut cream pie, yeah.
Right. So what is the texture of that? I've never had one.
Like puddingy? Like pudding, sort of.
Is it? Because it kind of looks
like
almost jello-y.
Maybe a little bit jello-y.
A little bit of jello with pudding.
I don't know.
We'll never become food critics.
A little bit jello-y.
Yeah. So that was my experience. I insulted a 30-year-old man and his mother in the pool. I danced until 11 o'clock. I did not get trapped in my hammock, and I got off the ship twice.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had a good time.
I did. I would do it again. You know what? I'd love to have seen you on the ship too. Like to see.
Yeah, right.
Maybe you would have known some of the cool hip songs. Like the
Probably number one. Yeah, I probably
you would. They had a DJ on board, and the casino. I didn't spend any money in the casino. It took me forever to find the casino.
I didn't even ask about that. It's like it's interesting to think about how the ship would be laid out. Like with so many, like if it's not a jumbo ship, it's kind of normal size, and all those restaurants and all of the other things. Like
it was overwhelming.
They fit it all in there.
It was overwhelming and a bit confusing. And I kept thinking to myself, like, is this how people feel when they go on a Disney cruise? But I feel like there's more signage on a Disney cruise showing you where to go.
But maybe it's supposed to be the mystery of the Scarlet Lady.
You're supposed to wander. Like, I was reading a review today about somebody talking about this restaurant on, like, Deck 16, and I'm thinking, I didn't see any restaurant up there. So, and I thought I walked, they had a lot of exercise equipment. I took pictures.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Like it's all about staying healthy, so they would like yoga classes everywhere, and everyone's at the gym.
You noticed that I didn't.
That's why I don't think I should be going on this.
You noticed that I did not mention any of those in my review.
Did you? So now you did the Norwegian Puma. You see, and you've done the Virgin Voyages Valiant Lady,
Scarlet Lady.
So. Scarlet Lady, they have one. Do they have one called Valley? What do they have? All their names. They have different names.
Different names.
Like the Scarlet Lady's just your ship, right? I wonder if there's. Anyways, so what? Like between the two, now that you've strayed from Disney twice.
Now that I've strayed from Disney twice. Oh, this is hard. I think I liked the room better on Virgin. The bathroom was better on Norwegian, but the room was better on Virgin. The service was probably the same. Like the service standard. So let's put it this way. Disney's number one, period, hands down, not even a contest. The service is better. The attention to detail is better. The cleanliness is better. Everything is just better. It's just better. Norwegian, I found easier to find things on the ship. Like I figured my way around a little better, a little faster on Norwegian. Yeah.
And they had bumper
cars. They had bumper cars. And yeah, you know what? Like, I think Norwegian was just a little more chill. Whereas Virgin was a little more party. Like there's a tattoo parlor on board. So.
Yeah, I think I messaged you once and asked if anyone is having enough fun that they got a tattoo.
No, because I can't even imagine being on a ship that is moving and asking someone to give me a tattoo. Can you imagine? Although the sailing was pretty smooth, but yeah.
But like with a tattoo, you have to cover it up and keep it all safe. And
you can't be in the sun. You can't be in the water.
Yeah, like that doesn't sound like.
Why would you want to do? I mean, unless you did it on the last night or something. But why Why bother? Just so you could say.
Maybe it's like people just get like the little line, like, you know, because all like the younger generation tattoos are like just like line drawings.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, a little triangle, or like they're very like there's not, you know, we're not talking like, you know, Superman on your sleeve anymore. Like they get like a little drawed line of like a cute little bunny or something.
Yeah, maybe.
So those ones, you stick a little bit, you stick a clear Band-Aid over that sucker, a little bit of goop, you're good to go. Keep partying. Maybe. So
because
maybe those are the tattoos they specialize in.
Like I would never have even thought to go and get one there. But I did find, Norwegian I found was a lot easier to kind of get around. And obviously, sailing out of New York, so much better than Miami. Getting off the ship in New York, aside from the people that were scary that were trying to get you in a taxi in New York, getting off the ship in New York was so much easier than in Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I basically, at the end of the day, had to put my faith in some little guy that was out there giving directions, telling me that it was okay to jump in this Suburban with some dude that didn't speak English that nodded yes when I said Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Yeah. So if you, I was going to say if you had kids, what would you do? But there's no kids on the ship, so it doesn't matter.
And if anybody has any more in-depth questions about the Scarlet Lady, they should maybe personal message you.
Yes, absolutely, because I think we've kept
if
that.
they've heard any rumors or want anything cleared, any
rumors
checked.
of anything that was supposedly seen or done on the ship. I was in my room by 11 o'clock every night. Yeah, yeah,
funny.
with my pizza. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, I will do a blog on it at some point. But yeah, with some pictures and stuff.
Yeah, I can't wait to see your pictures.
Yes, for sure.
I'm sure you took lots.
Oh, I did. You know me.
It'll be, when I see them, it'll maybe help pull some of it together too, because I have a hard time like imagining what the ship was.
Yeah,
I've watched a few videos, but it doesn't really help you piece together.
Well, I'll send you a couple of video clips of Scarlet Night. Yeah, we stood in the back.
But you participated.
I did, yeah. I danced. It's been years since I was out dancing. It was fun. And there's no dress code on the ship, which I love too. So we went to those like dinners, and there were people there that were dressed to the nines, and then I was there in my park attire minus the Disney shirt. I tried to Disney, like, tone down the Disney. So tone it down a little bit. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Carrie, I've babbled long enough. We're done. Except for Pixie Dust.
I'll keep it quick. Quick.
Yeah, right. What is your Pixie Dust? What is your Pixie Dust this week, Carrie?
Well, when I found out I didn't owe as much income tax as I thought I owed, I bought myself a fancy new tablet, and I splurged. I got the name brand.
No.
I got the Samsung to go with my phone.
Oh, look at
and
you.
I got the fancy Samsung keyboard, and that is expensive right there, let me tell you.
Oh,
Woo! But that was a splurge.
Good for you.
It's like magnetic. You put it, because I was like to this kid at the Best Buy, I'm like, I need a keyboard for this sucker.
Did you go
And I'm
into
like,
the Best Buy?
Yes, I
Okay.
did. And like, I don't want to be like, and this is like, the kid's probably like, lady, that's like, they sold like 10 years ago. I'm like, I don't want to be plugging in my keyboard. I don't have to charge it anyway. Like, I don't want to, and he's like, it's all by magnet now. And I'm like, sign me up.
He's probably like,
I didn't look to see how the keyboard costs probably almost half as much as my tablet. Sign me up, I'll take one. And then I was like, wow.
So it just
that's some fancy.
it just comes together with the magnets, like the tablet and the keyboard just fit together.
Yeah, like, well, it's in, like the keyboard case is the tablet case, sort of, or cover, and then when you go to use the keyboard, you stand it up in the
case.
Like, there's a little slot, like a slot, and then it charges it there.
Nice.
Is that like, have they been charging like that for like the last 5 years?
Carrie.
And I'm just like,
Yes,
wow. I didn't know that. The last one I had to plug it in. I used it like 3 times. I'm like, I'm not plugging in this keyboard every other day. This is stupid.
Oh my gosh, how exciting.
So yes, I got a fancy new tablet
technology.
so that when I travel, I know I'm and it's got a stylus and it's got the keyboard, and so the point was that when I travel, I'm gonna leave my laptop at home and just bring this. It's a big tablet, like it's
Good.
big, like it's as big as I can.
Can you draw on it? Like,
which I'll probably
is there a drawing app
Yeah,
and all that
yeah.
stuff? Good.
Mhm. There's all kinds, yeah, for sure. So I thought I could leave my laptop at home and then just carry that. So we'll see how it goes.
If you
it
happen
works,
to
then
be
I'll
traveling,
use it all the time. If not, if it doesn't work for when I'm traveling, then it's because it's ginormous. That's why I think I'll regret how big it is. Then it'll just be a really big TV for when I'm watching my puzzle. When I'm puzzling, it's going to be a great puzzle TV.
It'll
I'll be at the dining room table, my puzzle.
You'll get
and my
used
big
to
TV
it. I think
in front of me.
I think it's gonna be fine. I think you're gonna be happy that you got it as big as you did, because when you're drawing on it, when you do have to do some work on it, you need it to be bigger.
Yeah, it is like a lot for the purpose of using it for that. Like with the keyboard, if I was going to do emails or whatever, it is pretty much like the size of a laptop. It's just not heavy.
Yeah.
It's just light. So
Oh, good for you. I love new electronics.
That's it. That's all what you
Even though
possess.
yours is an Android, I do love new electronics.
Samsung.
Whatever. Same difference. It's not Apple.
Same thing.
Good for you.
What's your pixie dust?
My
Stop with the
okay,
chit chat.
Sorry.
Move on.
My pixie.
Time to
my
be
pixie.
moving along.
Oh, what's that from? Gotta be moving along. I hate it when you do that. Now it's stuck in my head. What's that from? People are screaming at us right now. Time to be moving.
Is that from
along.
Splash Mountain or something?
Oh, yes.
Sounds Splash Mountain.
It was Splash Mountain. Oh my god. People were probably screaming at us like some Disney podcasts you are.
They're probably screaming, "Stop singing!" or trying to sing.
My pixie dust. I finally figured out a deterrent for my squirrel. You know what are you awing for? This thing has moved in, Carrie. I told you about him taking his baby or taking her babies out. Did I tell you about that? I can't remember if I talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
So she apparently had babies inside my deck. And then when I put out the mothballs, the smell deterred her. So I watched her literally pack them up and walk them across the street, where she looked both ways before she crossed. And then she ran them up the tree, and I think she's now living in the balcony of the second floor apartment across the street from me.
Somebody else's balcony.
Too bad, buddy. Too bad. So she moved the babies out, but she kept coming back. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on? Like, I think like she was bringing stuff to try and like build up her den, I guess. Again, maybe she was going to bring them back. So I figured out the little doohickey thing, the downsprout, is that what it's called? The downsprout? Spout? What?
Spout.
You know, the thing that traps the water. Anyway, she had a whole bunch of stuff in there. And then that was the entryway into underneath my deck. So, like, I don't know what's wrong with me, Carrie. It was right in front of me. There is, you know, that thingy. Now I don't know the word. You know when you're gardening? You're gardening and you have the thingy.
The down sprout and the thingies.
Yeah. And I'm moving my hand here and Carrie's not helping me. You know the thing with the 4 pegs on the end?
The rake?
It's like a little hand rake. And it's got like 4 little pegs. And it just like, it's like an L shape.
Yeah. Yes.
So I saw it in the garage and I'm like, wait a minute. So I wedged that 4 little thing in the little downsprout doohickey, and it basically builds a fence so she can't get in under my deck. Ta-da!
Genius.
It's only taken me 2 years to figure out how to keep her out from under my deck. But I figured it out.
She's probably going in there because she's got like nuts.
She's probably got luggage and souvenirs and all sorts of stuff from her many adventures around Toronto. But she can't live there. She cannot live there. My deck is going to collapse if she puts too much stuff in there. And can you imagine what it's going to smell like? Oh, so here she was crawling up the spout or whatever it's called. Because I told you before, they cut down the dead tree in front of my house. Well, I come home from vacation to a notice that there's a mandatory tree planting coming my way.
You're getting a new one.
Yeah, I don't know where you can go to protest this. But so now I'm going to have a new tree, which means new leaves, which means a new, like, vehicle for the raccoons, for the squirrels, for the chipmunks, for the birds, for everybody in Cinderella and Snow White's castles to come to my window. Mm-hmm. So I gotta look for a number to see if I can protest the tree planting.
The only person that doesn't want the city to plant a tree on their property.
I want to pave it! But anyway, that was not my pixie dust. My pixie dust was that I figured out how to keep the squirrel out of my deck.
She's gone for good. Good riddance, Miss Squirrely.
She's
Madame
living
Squirrel.
across the street. She gives me evils every morning.
She's watching them. You had the best dang
Yep.
squirrel hut in the world, and now
I just ruined it. She could have moved into my neighbor's. I don't care. Stay out of mine. Yeah.
Have you ever seen those videos where like the squirrels put like people like tear down the wall in the house or the outside wall, like the siding, and like it's just full of nuts?
Yeah. Carrie, I'm not kidding you. When because I need to get my roof done, and I'm looking for like roofers that also do like not duct cleaning, but spout whatever. Why do I have such a hard time with this word? But they do. You know what I mean. So I gotta get eaves troughs. That's it. So because I need them to clean this thing out. She's got so much stuff in my eaves troughs. And under my deck is like, she's got like a reservoir under there that's catching all the rainwater, and it's all plugged up because of all the stuff she's moved in. So
you're gonna come there. There'll be like 2 feet of rainwater in your basement because she's
exactly
plugged all the drainage.
Seriously, it's not good. So my pixie dust is I've built a fence. Ta-da!
That squirrel ain't getting back in.
No, not until she figures out how to move the thingy. But for now, it's good. Yep. That's my pixie dust.
She'll probably get like her raccoon friend. She'd be like, hey, remember that time I helped you with whatever? Get over here. Bring those fingers over here.
I'll keep an eye out for them on the deck. All right, Carrie. This has been fun. Hopefully people enjoyed the non-Disney review. And we'll be back to our Disney regularly scheduled programming next week. Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Pixie Dust Fan Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
Make sure you're following us on your favorite podcast player so you'll get a new episode every week. And find us on social media too. We'd love to hear from you.
Till next time, remember, you are never too old to be young. Chase your dreams and design your own happily ever after.